when this integrated review was written, over a year ago, the world looked very different. And what we're now seeing are strains on our armed forces, particularly our three conventional forces, which means that they are becoming overwhelmed. So we cut our troop numbers by 10,000, and yet here we are committing two battle groups to Estonia, along with all the other commitments we have around the world. We've reduced our F-35 fleet from 138 to just 48. So that's probably enough to put on our two aircraft carriers, but not enough if we wanted to bolster our eastern flank of NATO. And we are simply running out of ammunition as well. We've gifted so much equipment to the Ukrainians. We now recognize that there'll be a shortfall were we to take on Russia ourselves. If the amount of ammunition that Ukraine is expending, if we went to war, we'd run out in 2 weeks. I mean, it's very interesting hearing the defense secretary perhaps liberated because there is a leadership contest on, so therefore he's freer to speak his own mind. I think finally being able to say public what perhaps he's thought for a little while is that the defense budget is too small. It's a peacetime budget. During the Cold War, it was at 4%. Now it's just over 2.2%, and it does need to increase. It has been frustrating to hear again and again and again that there's nothing to see here, that despite the scale of change in the threat picture across Europe and indeed beyond, in recognizing how our world is changing, that there was no requirement to visit the integrated review at all. And that is arrogant, I'm afraid, because we all know that we have entered a decade of instability. And there is at the moment a vacuum of leadership in Europe, which Putin is actually exploiting. It's normally Britain that steps into that vacuum, by the way. That's historically what we've done. You're not going to see France or Germany doing that. You're not probably going to see the United States doing that as well. There are so many domestic distractions for Biden to then focus on, and his situation will get weaker, no doubt, because of the midterm elections. So that's not only an opportunity, but I would say almost a duty for Britain to then step up. But we can only do that if we then have the necessary hard power, the defense posture to lead from the front. The world is getting more dangerous. We have two spheres of concern, not just in Eastern Europe, but in the South China Sea and around China as well. They are actually related because it's my view that Russia and China have recognized after Afghanistan just how weak the West has become. And they've chosen this moment in the time frame to step up, to challenge the international rules-based order in a way that we've not seen before. It won't change China's behavior by sending our aircraft carrier through the South China Sea every couple of years. You need to be sending ships through every month or so. So that means more rudimentary constabulary type ships that can patrol. Likewise, around the Atlantic, in the Arctic, the Baltics and so forth, as well as the Mediterranean and the other areas that we're regularly involved with. You can only do that if you double the size of our Navy. That doesn't mean more Type 26s and Type 45s, but simpler vessels like the Type 31, more modularity. But we're only designing a handful of these. So we need some major changes. But it is a requirement that the penny must drop. We must have that Sputnik moment that the world is moving to a very, very darker chapter. And we need to wake up and lead.